Hey there, everybody. I hope you are doing well as could be expected, right? I am Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. And like many of you, I am dealing with life day by day, given all the circumstances we're living under right now. But I do feel empowered. I don't know about me. Well, like Spirit is saying, slow it down, Afefe. If you are new to the channel, you're just landing here. My name is Afefe. I am a certified tarot and oracle reader. I am also a former journalist, newspaper journalist, so that kind of gives you an idea of how I approach tarot and my spiritual readings. I'm also an ordained priestess in both African and pagan traditions. So been through a lot, been down a lot of different roads, and I bring it all together to try and inform my readings. I understand, there are so many people right now who, especially in regards to people like myself doing tarot readings, they're just feeling a little disillusioned, a little angry. And also, I should say, gotta say, thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for those who are hanging in here with me. I do feel like we are stronger together. I say that a lot in my readings, and I think now more than ever, we need a sense of solidarity. No matter what side of the camera you're on, I read the comments. I encourage you to comment. I encourage you to talk to one another in the comments. I just ask that we keep everything respectful, that we use this platform. Don't do the bullying, don't do the snarky stuff. That's not what we need at this time more than ever. That said, don't know how you spent your yesterday, the 20th. I'm taping this really early Tuesday morning, the 21st. I plugged out. I said I was going to just, I didn't know social media. I didn't know television yesterday. You know what I did do? I watched the new Gladiator 2 with Denzel. And I needed that. That tapped into my warrior side, very much so. I wanted to share with you all. So many of you enjoy the fact that I have these pink wings behind me. And prior to that, I change up my background every now and again. I had this beautiful Buddha with the lotus. I'll probably put him back up sooner or later. But one thing, you probably see it over here on the side next to the wall that I don't show on camera. But this is my absolute favorite painting. I've got to get it framed. It's one of a kind, but this is what's sitting next to me on any given day, you all. This is absolutely one of my favorite pieces, all right? So that gives you a little insight into, or additional insight into my spirit, and when I talk about, hanging in there and being warriors, tapping into our strength, tapping into our fundamental belief that we're going to be okay. And when I watched that Gladiator 2, the fall of the Roman Empire, that whole greed and power and destruction. Okay, anyway, so today I had several of you, especially after yesterday. I logged on this morning and I caught up with all of my comments, and I agree with you. So many of you like how Trump got up on stage and said Elon knows about those voting machines, took care of it, said it out his mouth. Okay, so many words. For entertainment purposes only. I have to do that, right? These videos at entertainment purposes only. Okay. Elon gets up on stage and starts doing his Hitler salutes. I'm not going to do it. Hearing it with our own ears, seeing it with our own eyes. The question that I got from quite a number of you is, why did this happen? Why didn't Joe Biden, who knew clearly that fraud had taken place, that the voting machines had been tampered with, that there was no way that this man legitimately won this election, that Kamala Harris won? Why didn't, in the several weeks leading up to yesterday, I didn't say it because I knew Spirit was like, don't do it, Afefe. This is going to happen. And so many people were angry about that I pulled back from just saying that in so many words. But the fact was, I had people saying, look, NATO's in DC right now. This is happening. That's happening any minute now. The big reveal is going to take place. And lo and behold, the big reveal did not take place. So many of you have come and written to me privately and in the comments and said, what we know now, because he said it out his mouth, Elon took care of those voting machines. Why didn't Joe Biden stop this from happening? or NATO? Why didn't something happen to stop this? That's what we're going to look at today, you all. So I would ask, just take a deep breath, take a sip of water, and be with me during this time as I settle my energy. Because like many of you, I'm ready to take the angel wings down and put that painting that I just showed you up behind me. Like that's my mindset right now. But let's go. Spirit, please help us understand in all humility, in all truth. Something just flipped. Two things as I was, okay. Right off the bat, I've got an Ace of Swords and an Eight of Cups. I'm going to put those to the side. They're catalysts to tell me where we're going in this reading, but I'm not ready yet. Ace of Swords and Eight of Cups. Why didn't Joe Biden bring forth that information? Why didn't he launch the investigation, bring forth the truth of what happened with the election? Why did he allow this to happen? Or why didn't he make efforts to stop it? Bottom of the deck, death. Wow. And that's him, Scorpio, Joe Biden. Death is ruled by the sign Scorpio in tarot. I'm going to keep going. I want to get some cards on the table before I start interpreting, because that hits me a certain way. But I want to be sure. Eight of Pentacles. Strength. And the Four of Coins. Four of Pentacles. Nine of Wands. I'm laying this out in a Celtic cross spread for those of you who read. And I'll show you everything. Two of Pentacles in his consciousness. Justice in the future position. Nice to see it. Joe Biden, the Magician. The Six of Swords. I'm sorry, the Eight of Swords and what was surrounding him. The King of Swords, hopes and fears. That would be Trump, Gemini. Fears, hopes and fears. And the Chariot is the outcome card. Wow. Okay. I'm going to tell you, I think that, okay, between the eight, remember we got those catalyst cards that jumped out the deck when I was shuffling, the Ace of Swords and the Eight of Cups. Now I'm specifically looking at Joe Biden and why he didn't he knew he had the information. For those of you who have often said, Spirit is telling me to remind us, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Kamala was because it would go to her. This was on Biden. This would have had to have been Biden's torch to pick up and carry, because it would have been so obvious, based on the fact that Kamala was supposed to be 47. It would have been so obvious that had she done it, it would have been less believable, if you will, than if Joe Biden had done it, who by that time had stepped down, had sacrificed so much. And that, you all, that's why we're seeing this Ace of Swords and Eight of Cups. There was a part of Biden, I don't want to say, please don't take this the wrong way. I certainly tremendously respect him, as so many of you do as well. But by the time all of this happened, by the time November 5th came and went, think about everything that Biden had gone through mentally, psychically, and physically over the summer, ever since that disastrous debate performance. I think that Eight of Cups is, he almost felt like there was something else that would be done. He wouldn't be the one to have to do it, is essentially what I'm getting from Spirit. That Ace of Swords, he had already begun to think in relation to the Eight of Cups. He had already begun to disengage. Not from a sense of, okay, America, you didn't want me. We know Scorpio can be, when they get ticked about something, the scorpion sting. But I am not, before anybody takes this a different way, Spirit is not saying to me, and I'm not trying to offer this to say this was some act of thumbing his nose back at America for rejecting him. But it took so much out of him. The sense of rejection, going back to that 8 of Cups, the sense of rejection, the sense of having dedicated, 50 years of his life, half a century, to working in this political arena, only to have people finally say, you're not good enough, we need you to step aside, right? So there was that part of it. Now, center in this Celtic cross is the death card. I'm looking at him. I'm seeing him. Crossing that death card is the 8 of Pentacles. That, for me, is, yes, he knew, he had the information, duh, we know that. But he also, you all, he was already 1 foot out of the door, if that makes sense. There was, this really, really took a toll on Joe Biden. And to the extent that some realistic conversations were starting to be had around that the Joe Biden we saw in 2024 was a certainly diminished version of that firebrand, that we have known in years past. I think that is part of it as well. And I also think there's something here. Remember, even though I'm jumping ahead, we got that justice card in the future. And I'm going to look at that because I think that's playing out to what's going to happen to this new, quote unquote, administration. I have a hard time getting that out my mouth, right? But there's something where Joe Biden felt that all of this evidence was going to come out eventually. And almost there's a sense I'm getting that he almost felt, let it come out when he thinks he has won. Let it come out when he thinks he is, or when he is sitting on that throne, when he is sitting in the Oval Office. Let it come out then, right? Like in the worst possible moment. Again, thinking with that scorpionic mind. Now, in his subconscious, there was strength with the 4 of Pentacles. He was in not self-preservation mode, but he was also thinking about that 4 of Pentacles, you all. He was thinking about, if I play this hand and we challenge this, 4 of Pentacles says, do I have, because like, what was Merrick Garland going to do, right? What did he do, right? So do I have everything that I will need at my disposal to effectuate the change, to actually take this to the limit and stop what's going to happen here? Strength card. Do I have behind me? Because he's already thinking so many people he thought were in his corner had turned on him. Nancy Pelosi, to a certain extent Barack Obama, to so many other advisors, trusted people who would support and absolutely follow his directives. He was starting to doubt that, you all. Tag. I hate that for him. 9 of Wands in the recent past position. Tired, beleaguered, betrayed. Tremendous sense of betrayal that he was feeling. And it was fire. It was fire in his belly. It was eating at him. He wasn't doing well. He was not doing well. It is nothing short of astonishing that he's continued to function in recent months at the level that he has, up to and including, all of the pardons, the grace that he's continued to exhibit towards Trump at all. 9 of Wands in the recent past. He was burned out. He was really, really burned out. And then in his conscious mind, there was the 2 of Pentacles. He started thinking more about, and again, I hope this doesn't offend anybody. I am certainly a fan of Joe Biden for many, many years. But I think he started thinking about his wife. I think he started thinking about his family. This is the partnerships that he knew he could depend on. And this is in terms of his functioning, continue to function as he would have had to as President of the United States, having declared an investigation and election being fraudulent. That's juggling two worlds. On the one hand, I've got one foot out the door. I know that I am done. My political career is done. And on the other hand, now I've got to take charge. Essentially, Kamala can't do it. I've got to take the lead and take charge of this new fight. He was torn. And I think this also reflects, where's my deck? Spirit, is that Two of Coins reflecting also Joe Biden, or his relationship, his personal home front relationship? The Three of Wands. Yes and no. Spirit is saying this actually had more to do with, do I have the momentum? Do I have the backing? Do I have the momentum? Can I see this through? Because at that point, remember, again, his trust had been violated. The trust that he experienced or thought he had in certain political relationships. By this time, you're already seeing these different, world leaders and influencers starting to chuck down to Mar-a-Lago and bend the knee. There was a sense of, while I have all the power in title and law, technically, do I have the power? Because the near future was justice. I see this as a couple of things. He does feel that justice is going to play out in time. He didn't give up on that. But whether he could bring it to justice, thank you, Spirit is giving me a confirmation with that Ace of Wands. I just crossed the Justice card to get a clarifier. The Ace of Wands. He didn't think that he could move fast enough with enough resources backing him, where they would not only take into account, here it is in black and white, here's the numbers, here's the cities, here's the machines that we know were tampered with, here's the data, blah, 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 like laying everything on the table, but then who was going to carry it out? Merrick? Was the FBI going to get involved? Were they going to actually have to put law enforcement on the streets? And because I also get the sense with the magician, in his mind, he was thinking, I'm going to have to move so many pieces in order to make this work and make the American people believe that this, in fact, is what has occurred, because the environment around him was nothing but anxiety. I think that Joe Biden got advice from those he thought he could trust, who said, you could do this, and clearly there's enough evidence to do this, but can you do it successfully? What will be, because remember, hopes and fears behind it is Trump, that King of Swords. Spirit, was there fear of violence? Remembering too, Jan 6, was that part of the conversation that with Joe Biden, that there would be violence? Two of Wands. That was part of the conversation. Two of Wands, for those who don't read tarot, is a card focused forward. It's a beginning of the next vision, right? Looking out into the world and forecasting, almost using that magician energy that he was feeling. If I make these moves, I've got the resources to make these moves, to make this call, to get some things in motion, to challenge this election. I've got what I need to do it. But I'm also thinking long term, or moving forward, how is this going to carry out? And you've got all these nervous Nellies around you going, well, this dude, King of Swords, Gemini, Mr. Guy, is got these, these lunatics out here who will go to resort to violence, 100% resort to violence. We have the Page of Pentacles. Somebody told him slow down and let it play out. That's why we've got that Justice card in the future, you all. And that's why we've got that Justice card in the near future with the Ace of Wands. Things are going to start to play out. And before people get angry with me and, you tarot readers are full of shit. You all just keep selling us false hope. Trust me, nobody, I'm sitting up here hoping right along with you. But one way or another. And even remember, we're not in Spirit's mind. The arc of the law and the karmic justice is a different vibration than what many of us can even comprehend in our human form. And I'm saying that to say this justice could play out any number of ways. It may not play out in regards to the revelation of voter fraud. That man having said it and opened that door himself out his own mouth on a stage, yeah, Elon knows the machines, he had it hooked up, like that part aside, there's still there is the will of the people, and the will of the people having understood that what they were told would happen to help them is not at all what the agenda is going to be. The agenda is going to be about more power, more quote unquote land grabs, world domination, Greenland, Panama, Canada, Mexico, tariffs, all of it. We're going to see so many things that as they start rolling it out, and they say, well, how is any of this impacting me and making my life better? That's the justice starting to happen, and the Ace of Wands, fire being ignited. All right, because remember, our outcome card is the Chariot, ruled by Cancer, ruled by people who care about the energy of home and support, security, the divine mother, being nurtured, being safe, my family doing better than it was before. Yeah, that's what people are going to realize they're not getting. They're absolutely not getting. And going back to Joe Biden with the 3 of Cups, absolutely. People wanting to celebrate a difference that they thought was coming. That's not going to happen. I also feel like this is us celebrating down the road. Spirit is saying with that chariot, remember the chariot has to get over obstacles sometimes. That ride is not smooth. And there's a celebratory feel here. That for those of us who, my last taping before I went dark yesterday, just said I'm not doing it, is Spirit kept saying the content of our character, thinking about Martin Luther King Jr., and all of the people who were bitten by dogs and hosed and spit on and jailed and tortured for the sake of gaining many of the rights that we, in all of our anger and disappointment in this moment, that we still enjoy. Going back to Biden, the 8 of Wands, exactly. You all, it's not over. Why Biden didn't stop it is, I don't think, in so many words, he wasn't sure that he could trust the people he would have given the orders to carry them out or carry them out properly. His trust, or his ideas around who he could trust, and the idea that he had been so soundly rejected by those he thought he could trust, diminished his own innate sense of power. His power as a man and his power as president of the United States of America. And I think he just wasn't sure. He thought, going back to this Justice and Ace of Wands, and remember when we start with him, we've got Death and his card, Scorpio Death, and that 8 of Pentacles. It was almost, 8 of Pentacles is a card of mastery. It's like, I've done all I can do. Remembering too that his 2 of the cards that jumped out of the deck when I started shuffling was that Ace of Swords and 8 of Cups. There was a disengagement of a sort that he was undergoing, and it had nothing to do with his sense of right or wrong, with his desire for the American people to be well and to do well. That's why he worked as hard as he could up until yesterday, with pardons and sending messaging out. That powerful speech he gave last week about, listen up, America, here's what you signed up for, right? Knowing that they didn't really sign up for it, topic of this reading, but things playing out. That 8 of Cups, he's almost as if, I don't know that he had and that 8 of Swords of the people around him. I think he had some stuff going in his ear, and it could have been from Jill on down. Spirit, was Joe Biden also discouraging Joe Biden from taking on that fight? Did Jill maybe for the self-preservation of him. The Four of Cups. Baby, is this something you even really, are you ready to do this? And the Queen of Swords. Yeah. And that could have even been, I usually get Kamala as the Empress, but she is a Libra, Queen of Swords. King of Pentacles. And the Fool. Okay. Yeah. I think that this was also some advice that it wasn't just Jill. So Spirit is saying back up off of that a little bit. I think this was, I think he even had some conversations with Kamala Harris, but no one understood more than she the potential for violence, and the idea that it would have seemed so clear, just as in 2020 Trump challenged the legitimacy of the election, for them to come back in 2024 and essentially do the same thing, but with a basis to prove it, was a fight. But it was a fight that would have required more than I think deep down they knew they could count on. And that is really a sad statement. But you all, that's the best that I can offer. That's what I'm getting from Spirit. That's what came in the cards. Is there was knowledge of it 100%. The extent to which it could be carried out too, because thinking too, Justice, Supreme Court, thinking too, ultimately, if was this all going to land with the Supreme Court? Had they shown this evidence? Had they done, where was it going to land, and who was going to make the final call? And if it was, that we know what SCOTUS is. There's no question around that, right? Spirit. Was that also a part of the equation before I close out? Was this a matter of them understanding they would not have had the support and the backing of the Supreme Court to uphold it? Done and doner. The Sun. There you have it. The Sun. They knew they couldn't count on that. Even if they did put everything into motion and said, this happened, here's what we need to do about it, and then where does, who makes that final determination? And you've got the Sun. They couldn't count on the Supreme Court. They couldn't count on justice actually being carried out. Damn. All right. So we're going to move forward. I'm certainly going to continue to move forward on this channel. It's not the easiest time, I was certainly having a lot more fun back when we were having the rallies and having joy, and my numbers were ticking up. I've lost a lot of subscribers. I've had a lot of people say, deuces, peace out. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. I really hope that they do come back, because this tide will shift. This tide will change. That man is human, as is Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg, all of them. They are human. They are subject to a greater law, a law of divinity, source, whatever you want to call it at this point. And this is a moment in time. It's a really tough moment in time, but it's a moment in time, and we will get through it. So I appreciate you being here with me. I hope the content is valuable to you. We're going to keep it pushing, you all, and I'll talk to you real soon. Keep your chin up, keep breathing, and if you want, get some angel wings behind you, and like I showed you, and get energy around you that makes you feel tap into what keeps you in the mode of, I can do this no matter what. All right, take good care of yourselves. I'll check in with you a little bit later. Bye.